Good morning. Today is day 4 of a 30-day health challenge, and I'm gonna just take my glucose number, my waking glucose number, to share that with you, and then I need to go back into the house. I'm on duty to help my daughter with my granddaughter this morning, and she'll be waking up in just a little bit. So let's see. Yeah, I guess I'll show it to you on camera, my taking the number, instead of just taking it and telling you about it, because that is part of the point of this, is I want to make the app a little less confusing by showing the app in my video as I take my data and showing you the messages I get when I take numbers. So here I go to take my morning waking number to enter it into the data-driven app. Okay, so get out, well, first I should take out the meter from the Dario kit and put that in the bottom of the phone, and then I should get out my test strips. Yes, I'm going to allow the app. Okay, now my 3 test strips. Since I'm in the backyard, I'll just sit them on the edge of the phone. Okay, and then pull down the cocking device to use the lancing device to get a drop of blood. Pull up a drop of blood, and oh, it says it's connecting. What's taking so long? Let's see. Okay, there we go. It says place a drop of blood. All right, there's the first reading. And I'm going to take a couple readings to make sure that they're within 3 digits of each other. Well, this is nice. It's not as bad as I thought it would be this morning, considering yesterday. Yesterday was definitely a day of overeating. All right, so I got to touch this because my ring circle's not coming up. So I touch that. Now I get place a drop of blood and do that. And immediately try to pull up another drop of blood so I don't have to re-stick myself. Okay, 89, that's more like what I would have expected, but the third number will help me decide. So there we go. And I can take multiple numbers because of unlimited test strips with Dario for $200 a year. 91. Okay, so now if I check on that and I bring up all the numbers and compare, I see 91, 89, and 85, and 89, 90, 91, wait a minute, 89, 90, 91. I guess I'm going to go with the 89 because the 89 and the 91 are the 3 digits apart. And I will call the 89 my morning fasting number. So let's go ahead and get to the data-driven fasting app, which is here. It's a web-based app, and I'm going to hit track and glucose and waking. And it's got the time as 6:52 a.m. and 89 is the value. And then, oh, I hit done. But I have to make sure I hit the blue record button or it's not recorded in my data. And so today is day 4. I can go ahead and move from baselining and switch to hunger training. So it says, you are done with the baseline. It is time to switch to hunger training. So I do that by clicking on this sentence right here. Click here to start hunger training. And it tells me that my personal hunger trigger is going to be 83. So hunger training started July 18th, 2022. So I have my personal trigger. Oh, and here in the app, I have the to-do. I can read about hunger training. So I'm going to click on read more. And I have all of this information to read, but it's not an overwhelming amount of content to read, and I can learn. If I were doing this for the first time, which this is not my first rodeo, I could read about what hunger training is and about my current trigger and different things. So I'm not going to read that out loud to you right now. I need to get in the house and help my daughter with the 3.5-year-old. Well, I'm now showered and dressed, and I'm sitting in another spot in the backyard to try to get a little shade, and I just happen to be in front of the most gorgeous morning glories. So what a treat this is. My daughter has made a lovely backyard oasis in their little rental home. She is gifted in ways that I am definitely not. So when I took my shower this morning, that's when I weighed, and I was a little nervous to have to get on the scale after 2 days of eating deep dish pizza and other things that I don't normally eat. So my weight this morning was 144 on the money, and now I will go ahead and show you that recording along with I will take, when I say I'll show you that recording, I mean I will show you how to record your weight in the data-driven app, and I will also go ahead and take another glucose reading to see how my glucose has shifted from waking until now, because my waking was at 6:52. My waking glucose reading was at 6:52 a.m. this morning, and right now it is 9:31. I'm not hungry, but I'm just curious. Now, you do not have to take lots and lots of glucose readings. Marty Kendall's idea of using data-driven information is to actually use the least, what does he call it? I don't know, something about the least amount of measuring, or, well, it could do with the least amount of fasting too, because he's not in favor of a lot of fasting. Minimum effect, oh, okay, that's it, I think. Minimum effective dosage of whatever it is you're doing. So, and then another thing occurred to me, exercise. I haven't been doing any exercise while I have been doing these days of the challenge. Today's day 4. When I left Texas on Friday, I was at the airport early in the morning, no time for tread desk, which is really my only form of exercise in my life for the most part. And I haven't exercised, even though I have a tread desk here in California. Last year, my daughter and son-in-law let us get the same tread desk set up that we have at Texas. We bought pretty much the identical arrangement for here in California for when we visited, so that we could use the tread desk. Mostly it's me, that I'm the one that visits, so I like to use the tread desk. I would much rather be walking than sitting. So why am I not walking right now? Well, the household is busy, and I want to make this video, and I really don't like to be overheard when I'm making a video clip. So I'm out in the backyard. But I will finally today get on the tread desk and put on some miles. But about weight loss, I do not believe that exercise is really all that an important aspect of weight loss. I say that you can't out-exercise your fork. I can't out-exercise my fork. Exercise is for the health of the body's frame and muscles and core and things like that. I don't think that exercise is necessary in order to be able to maintain a healthy weight. So now I'm going to take a glucose reading, and then I will record that on the app along with my weight for this morning. Okay, here we go with the Dario. Take off the cap, get out some test strips. Are there 3 there? There are not 3 there. Okay, well, I will get another test strip. Okay, this is what one of the test strip cartridges looks like. So I just pull out the empty cartridge from there, and then I put in the refill cartridge, and now I have 25 more test strips. The thing I love about the Dario is I can use as many test strips as I want. So there are my 3 test strips. Now I'm going to open the Dario app, and I am going to get out the meter by sliding this, popping that up, and taking out the meter. If you had an Android phone, you'd have a different tip for the meter. So that's going in here at the end of my phone, and then it switches to insert a new test strip, which I will oblige, put that in, and then it switches to place a drop of blood. And now I'm using the cocking device to draw a drop of blood, the lancing device. I cocked it and using the lancing device. And I get a drop of blood, and I'm going to pick up the phone and just stick that into the drop of blood, and it circles around. And 101, now that's interesting. Okay. Well, let's take that strip out and click on the arrow, the check mark, so it records, and then I can put in another test strip. And because I am doing this in rapid succession, I still can draw another drop of blood, put that into the tip there and let it soak up or suck up or whatever. 89. And there is a perfect example why I take multiple numbers, 101 to 89. I'm trying to check. I want to make sure my digits are only 3 apart from each other. So a new test strip. Oh, I better just get another drop of blood while it still hasn't healed over. Okay, place a drop of blood, go into the drop, let that pipette and suck it up, and what are we going to get? Round and round she goes. 90. Okay, so now I'm going to use the check mark to record, and I'm going to go to all of the 3 numbers that I got this with this reading. So with 89 and 90 so close, I'm going to say that my next reading here is an 89, and I'll pull out this test strip and put this back in here. So I've used this meter, this case, for a couple of years, and you may notice that part of my hinge here has sprung a little bit. Now I know if I call Dario, they will replace the case for me. They've been a very good company for me to use. So, and the Dario information will be in the description of the video. So now let's go to the data-driven fasting app. I had to step away for a minute and give it a little bit of assistance, so a few minutes have passed, but okay. Let's go to the data-driven fasting app, and my current glucose is the same as my waking glucose. So I just took an 89, and my waking glucose at 6:52 a.m. was also an 89, and now here it is, it's 10:02. So the point of data-driven living is wait for your data to come into line where you want it to be. Actually, that's too simplified. Never mind. I'm going to hit track, and I want to record my weight first, and I want it to be the same number as 6:52 a.m. That just helps me when I look back at my record. So I'm hitting track and biomarkers, and then the select biometric. Oh, I'm having trouble here. Sometimes this happens. And what happens when I hit record? It's stuck. Okay, let me try it again. Sometimes this happens on my phone, and then I go ahead and I record it on my iPad. So let's switch to my iPad so I can record that here. Let me do that. All right, now I hope I can get this. I hope the lighting's okay. Anyway, I'm hitting track and biomarkers, and now I can try again to record my weight from this morning, and that was at 6. I'm going to scroll up on the calendar. The date is right, it's the 18th, but I'm going to hit the little clock icon, and I'm going to change the time to 6:52. So I'm scrolling down on it, making sure it says 6:52. We've got 9:52 a.m. Go down a couple hours. 6:52 a.m. and value was 144, and hit record. Okay, and I can touch navigate and history and make sure that I got the right entry. So blood glucose waking 89, 6:52 a.m. weight 6:52 a.m. 144, even though I took the weight a couple hours later when I showered and dressed. All right, now let's track my current glucose, and so I'm going to hit, I could do it either from glucose or from biomarkers. I'll go ahead and hit glucose, and I'm going to leave the time as it is right now. I can change it later. I am putting in the value of 89. This is a before meal value, so I will touch that. But I'm not hungry. I'm not going to eat. So I'm going to turn off the blue button, will you eat? And I'm going to rate my hunger as 1 because I don't have any hunger, basically. And then I'm going to hit record. And so, and this is telling me, should I want to eat? It says, your BG, your blood glucose, is just above your trigger. Only eat if you are really hungry. If you do so, prioritize nutrients and higher protein. So I'm going to close that message and explain that. Yeah, no morning glory backdrop. I'm moving around as the sun shifts in the sky and trying to stay out of the sun so that there's not too much glare here on the video. I want to explain that message that just popped up on the Data-Driven app, and it said your blood glucose is just above your trigger. Only eat if you are really hungry. If you do eat, prioritize nutrients and higher protein percentage. So that would mean that I would, if I were hungry and I wanted to eat, I would pull back on the non-fiber carbohydrates, which would allow, I'm reading some of the notes that I have picked up from Marty's writing, which would allow my blood glucose stores and liver and muscle glycogen stores to be depleted if I don't add any carbohydrates to a meal, if I decided I'm really hungry and I want to eat now. I would also reduce dietary fat. This allows my body to utilize stored body fat for energy instead of using fat that I'm taking in through my diet for energy. And it's important to prioritize protein percentages. So in the percentage of the food macros that I would get between carbohydrates, fats, proteins, I would prioritize protein and try to get more protein than the energy sources, more protein percentage. And it says doing this minimizes the loss of metabolically active protein from my muscle and from my vital organs. So If you wanted to think in terms of Trim Healthy Mama labeling, that would mean that I would use a fuel pull meal, except a fuel pull meal in Trim Healthy Mama terms, the recommendation is to stay about 20 grams of protein per that meal and use lots of non-starchy vegetables, which would be the fibrous carbohydrates. So that part I disagree with about keeping the protein percentage or protein down to 20 grams for a meal. I try to increase my protein percentages way up. As a matter of fact, one of the things I think about each day is, since I away in the 140s, I really want to try to get about 100 grams or more, even up to 140 grams of protein per day. That would be a gram of protein for every pound that I weigh. There are many disagreements or opinions. There are many opinions about how much protein we should be consuming in a day. If you listen to the Mastering Diabetes guys, which would be Cyrus Kambata and Robbie Barbaro, you can look them up, Mastering Diabetes. Actually, I will put one of their podcast interviews that was very helpful to me. I will put that in the description box of this video. Back in the shade, well, I was in the shade before, but back to the morning glories again. And I'm hungry. As I was moving from the other shaded spot to this shaded spot, I got hit with a hunger pang, a definite hunger pang. So I'm going to go ahead and take my glucose reading, because that's what you're supposed to do, is if you're feeling hungry, take your glucose reading and see if you really, if you need to eat because your glucose has lowered a lot, or what's going on. So the numbers tell you a lot about what's going on inside. So I'm going to take my glucose reading again. I'm not going to show you this one though. I'm just going to take it and you take my word for it. I'm showing you lots of readings and giving you visuals, but this time I'm just going to be in a hurry and take the number and tell you the number. Well, that's interesting. Just a 3-point drop. At 9:37 it was 89, and at 11:34, which is right now, it's just 3 points less at 86. And just like that, in a few minutes, the hunger pang has passed. So now I get to decide, what do I want to do? Do I want to wait it out until I get to my trigger? And so let me show you on the app if I can do that. Not that you have a short-term memory loss like me here. Well, I don't have a memory. Okay, so so there's my trigger, 83. Now, I haven't put the number in, so let's see what the app tells me. Put in glucose and before meal, and I'll leave it on will you eat, because I can go back and change it if I don't eat, but I'll put in that number of 86 and let the app tell me what the app's going to tell me. Record, and it says your blood glucose is just above your trigger. Only eat if you really are really hungry, which is the message I was reading to you before. If you do, prioritize nutrients and higher protein percentage. So I'll close that message. That means that I would stay in the Trim Healthy Mama fuel pull range, but I would eat a lot more protein than the fuel pull range would recommend, which is 20 grams or less. Oh, in the description box, I will put a whole synopsis of what the different meal types are for Trim Healthy Mama. The S, which is low carb, the E meal, which is low fat, and the fuel pull meal, which is low in both carbs and fats. And that's the kind of meal that I would use right now, a fuel pull meal with higher protein. percentage. So the hunger has passed. I think I'm going to wait a little bit more because I'm trying to get this video done, and well, I'm trying to keep up with the videoing and putting in the information as I want. So, but I am getting warm sitting out here. It's let's see what the temperature for Los Angeles says right now. Yeah, it says it's 85, and I'm sitting out here, but it's a whole lot better than Texas. Let's look at Texas. Richardson at home, 103 degrees. Yeah, I wouldn't be sitting outside right now. And if I were in Vermont, oh, it's raining in Vermont, 72 degrees. Wouldn't be sitting outside there either, unless it was on the porch or under the awning at the canopy at camp. Sorry about that. All of a sudden I wanted something cold. So keep videoing here. This is a chart of what optimal blood sugar ranges are, showing both in milligrams per deciliter and millimoles per liter. I don't know how else to share this chart with you, so I'm sorry you get a video clip of a screenshot. I will put a link to this chart in the description box of the video. Well, I did not eat after that glucose reading of 86. And then at 1:23, I took another glucose reading, and I was below my trigger of 83. The reading at 1:23 was 81, but I can't remember what happened, but I wasn't able to eat then, so I put it off. And then at 3:19, definitely was very hungry. And my glucose reading had risen just by a point, which often can happen. I could have risen more than a point, because once the body gets below a certain glucose level, insulin is dropping, and when insulin is dropping, another hormone can kick in called glucagon, and that can allow the body to release stored fat, turning it back into glucose. It can take stored glucose, which is called glycogen, turn it back into glucose and put more glucose into circulation to keep you going. So, and I'm not thinking that that's exactly what happened to me with just a 1-point rise, but I was hungry and I went ahead and ate. I chose to eat Nuchi greens. I'm kind of on a Nuchi greens kick, evidently. That will be in the description box, the recipe for that, and within the recipe there will be information about why Nuchi greens is a very healthy thing to eat. I also ate a good amount of protein, probably not 100 grams of protein, and that was my only meal today. Again, the day didn't quite turn out as expected. I was needed for some help. And anyway, but it was a good, nutritious meal, at least. And I am going to be going to bed soon. It's 9 o'clock right now. The little family's just finishing up some bedtime reading inside, and so I came out to just try to have a conclusion of today's video for day 4 of the 30-day challenge, and I'll start again tomorrow with a new video, day 5. Tomorrow will be Tuesday, and maybe there will be some more leeway in my day to do
a few more things that I would like to get done. But I'm glad I'm here to help my daughter and my son-in-law. I'm privileged to be able to be here. Anyway, that's the end of the day 5 video.